This is Allie Kermeen, and this is how to do working equitation. Today we're going to talk about how to set up some of the obstacles we've been working on so far. And that is the rope gate, the figure eight between two drums, the earthenware jug, switching a glass from one pole to another, and then we're going to do a special bonus obstacle, which is going to be our next obstacle, the livestock pen. So first let's talk about the rope gate. So this rope gate was built by boring some holes into the top of some standards and then dropping in a couple pieces of PVC. I like the design of this rope gate because there's nothing sticking out for you to get caught on while you're schooling your horse through the gate. The rope itself is a clothesline that I've made a loop in one end and then I've knotted the other. You can use any sort of rope, but you do want to make sure that you don't have too much line to get yourself tangled up in should things not go according to plan. Here's another design where a screw eye was put into one of the holes of a standard and a lead rope was clipped onto it. And then the other end has a jump cup that is keeping the loop of the line from sagging down. And here's another design that uses wing standards, but the principle is the same. It's sort of difficult to see, but rather than jump cups being used to hold up the line, they've got welded halves of horseshoes that are attached to jump cups that act like hooks. Not so much a fan of that because I'm worried that you might get hung up when you try to go through there. So for the specifications, the rope gate should be about 4 feet 3 inches tall, well at least that high, 1.3 meters off the ground. And it should be at least 6 foot 6 inches wide, which is about 2 meters wide. So next we'll talk about the figure eight between the two drums. Really what we need are two drums for this. There's not a lot to it. If you don't have barrels, you can use upside down trash cans, you could use cones, houseplant standards, you can get creative. But from the center of your drums, you should have 10 feet, 3 meters. Then we have the earthenware jug. Now, I don't use an earthenware jug because I don't want to break it. I use a pitcher I got from the dollar store and I put some duct tape in it to weigh it down. And then I set it on top of an oil drum. You can use a variety of different platforms. People use sacks of grain. Here we have a couple bales of hay. Now, if you use something edible for the horse, they might grab onto it and scare themselves while you're schooling. So maybe some bales of shavings would be a better choice. So regardless of the platform you're using, your jug should be about 3 feet off of the ground. Next, we're going to talk about switching a glass from one pole to another. Usually we don't use a glass for this, but we use a plastic cup. Mine came from the dollar store. I had some lengths of PVC pipe cut for me at the local hardware store and I put them into some traffic cones to make my poles. Now a fancier version is seen here where it's PVC poles that are sunken into flower pots that have been filled with cement, which is a little bit more permanent, but still for safety we have a plastic cup. The standard for this obstacle is to be 6.5 feet high, which is 2 meters, and to be 4 feet between the two poles, which is 1.2 meters. The final obstacle we're going to cover today is the livestock pen, and this obstacle has tremendous variety about how it can be constructed. Here we see one that's made with a roll of picket fence in the middle and some wooden poles strung up between cinder blocks around the outside. Then this one has a dog kennel for the center, and it has wooden ground poles on top of jump blocks to make the perimeter. When you're constructing your livestock pen, you want the inner ring to be 10 feet in diameter, which is about 3 meters. The outer ring should be 20 feet in diameter, which is 6 meters, with a 5-foot opening, which is 1.5 meters to go in and out. And then inside the inner ring, you can use some livestock or statuary if you like. I hope you've enjoyed today's presentation on how to set up some of the working equitation obstacles. I hope you won't be intimidated by working equitation because you're able to set up a lot of these obstacles with things you already have around the barn or can easily purchase at the dollar store or your local hardware store for not very much money at all. If you liked this presentation, be sure to check in every week when I do a new how-to video on working equitation. Subscribe to Ali Kermeen on YouTube and follow me on Instagram at Happy Canterer.